Pantera is not a real band. What do you think? Let's have a discussion about it. Put it in the comments. Pantera is not a real band. That's the revelation bestowed upon me from a metal prophet in a Pantera shirt, a hotel elevator in White House, Tennessee. This past Sunday, after I went and saw Metallica, who had Limp Bizkit open for them, gentleman got on the elevator with me. I think I was wearing a Prong t-shirt. I was kind of happy about it. About 30 minutes away from Nashville, and he had on a Pantera shirt. I was excited to talk to him about the shows. Small talk. I said, "Oh, did you see Pantera open for Metallica on Thursday?" "Fuck no," he said. Sharp language. I thought we were cool metalheads here. And then he continued, "I saw Pantera when they were a real band." I got a good chuckle out of that. I should have asked him, or I should have congratulated him on seeing Terry Glaze live in show and in person with Pantera. But I figured he wouldn't get the wit of that. So I just went ahead and told him what I thought. And drop in the comments, do you think Pantera in their current live performance iteration is a real band? I told them they're absolutely a real band right now. Zakk Wylde is one of the best guitarists ever, played with Ozzy Osbourne, mastermind behind Black Label Society. And Charlie on the drums, he's one of the most decorated drummers in speed and thrash metal history. Now I get it. We'd all like to see Dime and Vinny up there on stage, but that's not an option right now. That doesn't mean that this current iteration of Pantera is not a real band. They're not putting out studio albums under the Pantera moniker right now, but even if they did, they'd still be a real band. Band members change, This fella, that he go see Metallica, even though they're not a real band compared to back when Metallica had Dave Mustaine and Cliff Burton in the band. I mean, I get it. There's certainly times when bands are in their prime and times when bands are past their prime. And there's situations where you could really say, yeah, that's not the real band. Say if you go see Leonard Skinner and you have somebody that only was on like their fourth album and was a minor member of the band at that time with a bunch of nobodies and session musicians playing with them, yeah, I could see you saying that's not really Leonard Skinner. But Pantera right now is a real band. Now I saw them multiple times in the 90s and early 2000s. Small enough venues to where Phil Anselmo got off stage and got in the mosh pit, and he is was very adept at moshing. Phil's got some age on him. I have age on me. I don't have the same energy at concerts that I had back in the early 90s and early 2000s. But Pantera's still a real band. I saw Pantera opening for Slayer on Slayer's final tour, which of course, in the spirit of Kiss and Motley Crue, is not their final tour. But anyway, at the time, I was told it was their final tour in Louisville, and Pantera was on stage, and it was Rex and Phil and some other dudes that I didn't recognize. Phil kind of looked like our high school youth minister. He's definitely was rocking the dad bod motif. Had a very similar stage presence to the youth minister back in the day. And it's not like the Gemstones, kind of more new metalish youth minister. No, this was the bike shorts wearing, not the biker shorts, the bike shorts wearing. Tuck in your t-shirt, beerless beer belly, always having a little bit of spittle right up here that kind of youth minister. But you know what? He's a great dude, and Phil Anselmo was a great dude live there. I mean, it was a much different energy. I get it. You know, it didn't have the dynamic energy from some of those early Pantera shows that I saw. But you know, people get successful, people get older, people get families, people lose some of that angst, and things change. Pantera's a real band right now. They're absolutely real. You know, when did Pantera stop becoming a real band? When Phil Anselmo started singing with them? Did they stop becoming a real band when they put out power metal? Because they were drifting away from the glam and hair metal motif. They stopped becoming a real band when Damage Plan came about. I mean, you know, kind of going down that slippery slope. You know, that's a slippery slope there. Speaking of slippery slopes, this fella was quite a bit larger than me. Looked like he spends a lot of time at the gym, enjoys some creatine, you know, and whatnot. Probably studies the UFC matchups even more than I do. And he was getting off the elevator, and he turned around and he started saying something, and I don't even remember what he was saying, but whatever he was saying, he was trying to be intimidating and threatening. And you know, I stepped off the elevator. In my younger days, I was absolutely more than welcoming of contact, whether it be in mosh pits or this kind of stuff, or tough man contests in my younger days. But I stepped out of the elevator, and I went ahead and closed the space to bond with him. You know, he's a gatekeeper. He wants division and separation. I was unifying with him a bit. But I said, I know exactly who you are. You're the guy on the edge of the mosh pit that doesn't make contact with anyone until they're either past you or almost past you, so you can blindside them. So I'm right here. You want to mosh? We can mosh right here. We can mosh right here in the hallway. I said, you know what? I can pull up some Pantera or Black Label Society or Anthrax on my phone. We can mosh to that. On the verge of tears. Man needs therapy, probably. Lips quivering, his posture changed, and I'm not a big posture guy. And he just walked away in silence. But I don't get it. I don't get why we have to be divided, why we have to gatekeep. You know, he went to the Metallica show, and I think that's great. But I've had people do this kind of, you know, feet cemented mentality with gatekeeping about Metallica. You know, after Cliff, nothing existed. You know, everything Bob Rock on is intolerable. You know, you like what you like, but don't tell me I can't like Load and Reload. Don't tell me I can't like Saint Anger because you don't like the way the cymbals and drums sound on it. Don't tell me that I can't like 72 Seasons. That album is absolutely phenomenal. When Metallica played down in Nashville, those songs off 72 Seasons, as well as Moth and the Flame, sounded better than everything else from their back catalog. And I love all those other songs, but the 72 Season songs, I mean, they really brought it. And James Hetfield, he was up there before in Amarada, you know, he told somebody, you know, I know this is going to break your heart, I know you're going to complain, we're going to play this. We're going to play this long new song. It's double digit in minutes. but you know, they were live in 72 Seasons. You may not like it, but it is an incredible album when you really take a step back and think about it. These dudes are multi-millionaires. Their bills are paid. Their kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-great-great-grandkids' tuitions are going to be taken care of. You know, they got all within my hands. They give back in that way. But they're still putting out some exceptional music. You know, they're still tapping into some angst. There's some complex songwriting. I mean, you know, it's kind of interesting. A lot of the songs off 72 Seasons remind me of several of the songs on Garage Inc. And you know why? I think it's because they are just really enlivened by Blue Oyster Cult, Black Sabbath, Merciful Fate, all those bands they were covering. Like they're really, it's really shining through. Motorhead, I mean, it just shines through. Iron Maiden. I've kind of been rambling, but you know what? I don't believe in being sycophantic or fake. I believe in authenticity. And most people won't watch a video like this, but those who do, you're my people. I'm your people. I realize that's, you know, grammatically incorrect and would get some red pen if I were to turn that in, but you know, all we have is time. Tick, 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 tock, frantic, tick, 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 tock. What was that off of? Was that off Saint Anger? It's a great song. You know, time is all we have, but also everything is impermanent. Didn't anticipate going into some sort of quasi-Buddhist reflection here, but it's true. So what am I drinking for the bourbon folks on there, if you made it this far? I chose this because on the way home from work, I was kind of thinking about old dude in the elevator. I dialed up one of the best live albums of all time. I mean, it's got to be in the top 10 of all time. And it captured back when Pantera was a real band. Official Live 101 Proof. I mean, man, the band just, that set list, and they just were clicking on all cylinders, and just the banter from Phil, just classic banter. Our hits, yeah, we're gonna play our hit. It's kind of like James with Inamorado, but oh, that's such a beautiful album. But anyway, in honor of that, 101 Proof, Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit. I have some Wild Turkey 101, but I have it in a decanter, which isn't really appropriate. You know, if I've got on this old ancient battle vest and sleeveless maiden shirt, you know, I figured a bougie decanter would kind of detract from it. Even though this is a bougie iteration of Wild Turkey 101, it is the single barrel iteration. It's a gorgeous pour. I drink less bourbon than I used to, but when I do, I really enjoy stuff like this and Russell's Reserve single barrel. Of course, I'm big on Knob Creek single barrels especially. Any bourbon drinkers on here? If so, drop in the comments. What bourbon do you like? What have you had recently? What do you think's an underappreciated bourbon? What's kind of the holy grail bourbon for you? I mean, you know, most people would say, like, you know, one of the Pappy Van Winkles, but what is it for you? Or you make their celebration or something? But what's a bourbon that you think would be accessible at MSRP if you stumbled upon it, that you would just be ecstatic to find and open, not to try to flip it? All right, so is Pantera a real band? And if you think they're not a real band right now with Zach and Charlie, then tell me why. I get it, we mourn for Dime and Vinny, but tell me why. Tell me why they can't continue to play live. I can kind of see a little more with something like Linkin Park. people having issues with that, recording a new album, a radically different singer, but you know, I don't think Chester just wanted them to stay in a rut. I think he'd want them to continue to journey through life with music. Lane Staley, Alice in Chains put out several albums after Lane went on to the next realm. I think Lane will be all right with that. Soundgarden hasn't. Audio Slave haven't. Singers make it kind of tricky, but it's not impossible. So, is Pantera a real band? Have you seen Pantera live before? Have you watched this whole thing? If so, I'm terribly impressed, because we're now like 15 minutes and 50 seconds in. And I think I've retired from TikTok. I had close to 110,000 followers on there, and I've got under 300 here on YouTube, but I kind of like being an unknown here on YouTube. I kind of like when my videos get 10 views, 2 views, when my shorts get under 100 views. So shorts are kind of interesting. I'd say that the algorithm on TikTok pushes shorts. Now, I don't have anything remotely viral on TikTok or on YouTube. I did on TikTok, on YouTube. I had one video where I was eating some donuts, got like 10,000 views. But I think it's a short, not a video. But my shorts generally get a lot more views than my videos. But it's interesting. I think the way that YouTube is set up is like, once you start watching a content creator, like you subscribe and you start watching several of their shorts or videos, that it'll really pull up some ancient videos. It'll pull up some B-side videos. It'll pull up the non-hits, the non-viral videos, and present them to viewers. And I think that's kind of magical, the way that YouTube does that. So anyway, I'm a metalhead. I'm more than a metalhead, but I am a metalhead. And I was DIY and underground and all that stuff. And it's kind of nice going from being a mild celebrity, 110,000 followers isn't really a celebrity, but going from being a mild celebrity to being a complete unknown, as Bob Dylan would say. So if you've watched this far, we're going on 18 minutes. Taste Man here. Start dialogue with me here in the comments. I'll interact with you. I'll engage, because I do really enjoy interconnection. And even if you troll like old dude in the elevator, you'll get me thinking, and I think that's a gift. Because even when we disagree, if we get one another to stop, to analyze, to reflect, then that's a gift, even when we disagree. I think Pantera's a real band currently. I think Pantera was a real band with Daryl and Vinny. I think Pantera was a real band when they were doing hair metal. I wish the hair metal era Pantera was available to listen to on Spotify, to stream, or was easily accessible on compact disc and vinyl, because I would buy it and celebrate it, because I enjoy hair metal. I really do. I don't think I got any hair metal on the vest here. Got Cayuse. Yeah, they're not hair metal. I got some hair metal shirts, but like Pantera, I was wild about Kiss, the band, growing up, and I've got a brother, he doesn't care for post Ace and Peter era Kiss. He calls Tommy Thayer fake Ace. But he does like Bruce Kulick, and he liked Eric Carr. Vinnie Vincent, that dude's interesting. Actually, nowadays, let Vinnie Vincent fill in the blank is interesting. I don't need to make an assumption about Vinny because Vinny's Vinny. Vincent Cusano. Last I knew, he lived in Smyrna, Tennessee, not too far from White House, Tennessee, where I had this elevator incident. All right, talk to me, YouTube. In the comments, project, this could be fun. Project how many views you think this video will get. I'm going to guess that over the next year, this video will generate 37 views, of which probably 10 of those will be me. This is just a beautiful, beautiful bourbon. Now this is from the Visitor Center. You know, it's Visitor Center Select, February 2024. I went in there after a lacrosse tournament. I was coaching middle school lacrosse. Literally got in there with my buddy, T-Bone, who lives across the street, 5 minutes before they closed. I overpaid for it. But you know what, it was what it was. We didn't do a tour. We just popped in to the gift shop there, which was like, they're doing some construction at Wild Turkey, because all these distilleries were doing a lot of construction for a while during the bourbon boom, but now with the tariffs and whatnot, the smaller ones, many of them have gone bankrupt or, you know, had to get purchased by bigger distillery producers. But Turkey, is Campari on them? Maybe. Turkey may be owned by Campari, who I think are Italians, but they may be owned by the Japanese as well. But kind of rambling along. You like Zeppelin? I used to be a singer, not anymore. I'm not like Phil. I haven't continued on as I've fully entered middle age. Where does middle age start? Am I officially middle age? I think so. I'm getting close to 50. So I think I am certifiable middle age. I don't know what my generation is. I don't know if it's Gen X. Saying the letter X might get this video suppressed, but joke's on everybody else. It was going to get suppressed anyway. I mean, this video was destined to get 40 views or less, so why not say Generation X or Gen X? I'll give you all a little appetizer for my next tournament. I've been working on a 512 songs tournament, which few of you all are watching. Some are. Most people don't comment, but there's some eyeballs on it. Mostly obscure songs, non-metal songs. Next year, or the next thing I think I'm gonna do, is I think I'm gonna do a 128 new metal albums tournament to see like the best new metal album for me. I'm getting pretty excited about that. I've been digging in, and like a band that I discovered today who is new metal, and I had no idea that they were new metal, on their second release for sure. Whoa, got a bee right up here. I'm not scared of bees, just like the guy in the elevator. It's all right, it's all good. Their second album for sure is new metal. Man, come on, bee. This bee wants to be seen. This bee, I mean, those who believe in reincarnation, this bee might be Cliff Burton. This bee might be Vinny or Daryl. And y'all think that's wild, but we don't know how the afterlife works. We think we do. We don't really know. I mean, like if there were a member of Striper that moved on to the next round, absolutely. Metallica 72 Seasons, they got the color of a bumblebee. Jack White and Third Man Records, he's all about bumblebee colors. Which makes me wonder if he's like a Pittsburgh Steelers or probably more of a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. I think Jack's more of a baseball guy. Old lawnmowers are coming out. We got the Lawn Olympics over here. Anyway, I digress. Let me dive back in. I was fascinated today, and this is just like bonus content for the people that aren't watching it, but I believe there's probably 5 people on Earth. I may watch this video again all the way through someday. We're approaching half an hour. This is for the people who are very interested in just kind of exploring the inner workings of my brain as it comes out. I like sitting around sometimes and watching YouTube videos while I'm eating supper or working on something. I like just letting some of these long videos just roll. People that are just being authentic people. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. They're not trying to wow you. There's not a lot of graphics. They're just kind of, doing life. So we're having a dialogue. You are having a pour of this with me. And if you can't get to the visitor center to get this obscure barrel that I bought probably a year ago, just go get you a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 or have whatever you want. I mean, I don't care if you're drinking water. I love water. That's my main jam. Or green tea or Bacardi or Smirnoff. I don't care. I'm not, you do. You enjoy what you enjoy. Anyway. Let me get back. I am digressing, going down rabbit holes. So, this new metal band, I had no idea that Sugar Ray was new metal. Their second album, which includes Fly, which is one of the biggest hit songs of my lifetime. I'm going to go ahead and do a disclaimer. I've had POD stuck in my head for 2 days. I feel so alive for the very first time. And I don't even know all the lyrics. And they're a Christian band. And I'm not Christian. I was for a period. I consider myself a spiritual free agent. I'm undecided, undeclared. I haven't committed. I haven't signed a letter of intent with any religion or dogma. I do like Buddhism a touch more than most, but I'm still a spiritual free agent. Anyway, let me get back. Let me reel it in. So, a new metal band that I had no idea was a new metal band. Fly. They've got the hit song Fly off their second album, Sugar Ray. Did you know Sugar Ray was new metal? I didn't. And I dialed up their first album today because I'm coming up with 128 albums for this greatest new metal album of all time tournament. Oh, we got dueling lawnmowers for the Yard Olympics. And I am definitely still good. I'm just feeling good, folks. There's a difference. And I'm not driving anywhere. I'm staying here at the house. But Sugar Ray, their second album, when you get past that song, Fly, there's a lot of new metal songs on there. And then like Mark McGrath, who turned into like this pop icon. I think he was on, I don't know, American Idol or So You Think You Can Dance or America's Got Talent. He was on something like that. I'm not a big TV dude. This was an authentic new metal album. I mean, it wasn't quite like Cold Chamber or Korn's debut authenticity or Soulfly's debut, but it was an overt new metal album. And then I started listening to their first album, which I love the album cover, and that's an album cover that I won't be able to post on my videos, because it'll get suppressed by the algorithm, you know, the YouTube Karens. But their first album was very interesting. I mean, it was like, and I was just kind of picking and popping, to use a basketball reference. It was a touch avant-garde-ish, kind of like more Mr. Bungle than Faith No More. And it makes sense, because Mark McGrath had the spiky hair. He was a you know, definitely a model-esque. I'm getting a low battery warning from my phone. Does TikTok, does YouTube allow you to post videos that are longer than 30 minutes? Because we're past 30 minutes. My battery's getting low, but there's still stuff to say. Neighbors grilling out. Got two neighbors that are dueling on the mowing. My dog she's currently chilled out on a love seat patio furniture, but there are a lot of carpenter bees that are buzzing around, like Cliff Burton, Vinny, or Dime, or I don't know. Or Bon Scott, or Jimi Hendrix. I don't know who that carpenter bee was. Tell me who that carpenter bee was. I'm not even sure that was a carpenter bee. Tell me who that bee was. They were reincarnated. That bee that was flying around. I mean, I don't care if y'all, man, that sounded like a bad ride back there. I don't care how many comments you post on any of my videos. You can flood my videos with comments. You can troll me like Mortis, M-O-R-T-I-S, all you want. I like engagement. And you know what? If you're trolling me, you're at least investing some of your time, because all of our time is limited. So if you're trolling me, you're putting something into it. You know, the guy from the elevator, Pantera's not a real band guy, wearing a Pantera shirt of all things, stepping back into the elevator, he was making an investment. He was, you know, it was such a triggering, empowering moment for him that he thought that he needed to stop time, to stop that elevator door from closing, to up the ante a bit. And you know, I don't know if he had an argument with somebody and wasn't feeling as powerful as he likes to feel before he got in that elevator, before we got in that elevator together, to where he thought that he needed to transcend the Rubicon, like the band Benediction's title. Oh, that's a great band. That's an underrated band on Earache Records. Check it out, Benediction, Transcend the Rubicon. But you know what? It brought the flow to a halt. And it got me to laser focus on him, because he activated like threat reaction within me. Like, I had to acknowledge that we went from just inane, vapid, metalhead conversation in the elevator to something a little more sinister, intense, and invested. This fella was invested in his belief that Pantera could only be Phil Rex, Vinny, and Daryl. That's it. Now, he's not going to acknowledge Terry and the hair metal era, Pantera. And I think tears would have been shed if I would have really been like, hey, did you know Pantera put out 3 full-on hair metal albums and one that started drifting away from hair metal into what you have now, called power metal? Has nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons, but I mean, you know, is Pantera the Venom of the genre of power metal? Because I don't think Venom are very black metal. Pantera is definitely not very power metal. but they did put an album out called Power Metal. Did they create the genre of power metal? Survey says, put it on there. Family Feud. Who's the inventor of power metal? I guarantee you people wouldn't say Pantera. I don't know. Who would you say invented power metal? This band? Halloween? Never really thought much about that. My hair's too short to really delve into power metal too much. POD. For the very first time. All right, we're past 35 minutes, approaching 36 minutes. I'm not running out of momentum, but I think we've now dropped down to 2 people ever will watch this video this far. There might be a couple people that scroll this far into the video and drop a comment to get some praise from me. As preposterous as that is, but whatever, you know, if you put that kind of effort in, I'll acknowledge it. I acknowledge every comment. I will do that. We unify. Even if you are the guy in the Pantera shirt in the elevator that stepped back in to stop time, to bring it to a halt and bring my focus in to where you got me so focused I couldn't even hear what you were saying. Even if you are striking me in the mosh pit as I go by, I kind of dig that contact. It keeps me going. Like, I've never really minded that. I did square up with quite a few skins in the past who would be cheap shot artists and a couple of the monster truck guys, the creatine muscle guys in mosh pits. Generally what I do is I try to drag them in the pit and get them to just get in there and just enjoy the contact. Like, I'd call them out in that way. Do you know the mosh pit where I had my shoulders dislocated more than any other? It wasn't Agnostic Front. It wasn't Sam Black Church. It wasn't Slayer. It wasn't Soulfly. It wasn't Mortician. It wasn't Converge. It wasn't Norma Jean. It was My Own Victim from Louisville. Opening for, I don't know, King Diamond or Merciful Fate. Hardcore band's quasi new metal. But there was like 2, 3, or 4 guys in the pit. So we had to keep doing battering rams with each other. And I was going all shoulder. I was young, late teens, early 20s. All shoulder, no forearms. Man, derailed my baseball career. Derailed my basketball career. But you know what? Robert Frost said it best. Path not taken makes all the difference. Something along those lines. We're going all the way back to junior high poetry, junior high English class. Tell me some of your favorite poets. They can be lyricists. We're talking about music. We're talking about Bourbon, Jack Kerouac, James Hetfield, John Darnielle, Conor Oberst, Jim James, Eminem, Wiz Khalifa, Phil Anselmo. Tell me your favorite poets. And they can include lyricists. I want to hear it. Here we are, almost 40 minutes in. I don't even know if YouTube will accept this beyond 30 minutes. Actually, I think I've seen concerts that were over an hour long, so I think YouTube will embrace this. There'll be hardly any of us watching this. I really believe there's going to be 3 of us. Me and 2 other people will make it all the way through. I do think there'll be a couple people that'll cheat, that'll scroll through. But you know what? Let's do it. Let's interconnect. Let's have a pour. That's right. I got on olive colored khakis that I wore to work today. I left my work pants on and put on a sleeveless run to the hills shirt and a battle vest. To come out here and film this video that 3 of us will watch. I have 2 chins. So what? As Al Jurgensen would say, so what? Have I at least put POD in your head? So alive? It's in my head. I need to learn the lyrics to that because it stays stuck in my head. And I bet you I know about 8% of the lyrics of that song. I don't even know the name of the song. I don't know, maybe a grandma somewhere is praying for me. Maybe my mother-in-law is praying for me. She thinks I'm quite the heathen, so maybe she's praying for me. Maybe it's getting through by way of POD. Payable on best Christian hardcore band. Tell me, who do you think? For me, that's a no-brainer. No Innocent Victim. You know what's preposterous? The publishers of the new international version sued the band No Innocent Victim, who were like some of the most grassroots, ground level, authentic evangelists on earth. I mean, they literally were touring with bands like Agnostic Front, and they put out some elite, some God tier hardcore. No Innocent Victim, I don't know what label they were on. It doesn't really matter. I don't know what kind of insect that was. They put out some super, super elite hardcore music. Check them out. They got sued by the publishers of New International Version. Now, if you know anybody from the band No Innocent Victim, tip them off to my account. Send them this video, have them to hop in the comments because I'm such a fan of them. I appreciate the grind, just like I appreciate the grind of bands like Norma Jean and Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Like I said, I'm a spiritual free agent. I'm not a Christian. I'm not. I kind of believe in everything and nothing at all. I kind of believe in let's make the world a better place and try to unite more than divide. And I am big on protecting those who can't protect themselves. So I do believe there's times where you need to have a call to arms, whether it be, interpret that how you wish, because I'm not into the type of arms that you're thinking I'm into. But I am about having a backbone and being aware when threat levels increase. So anyway, I have said more than enough in this video for the algorithm to absolutely suppress every second of it. But I still believe there's going to be 3 of us that make it through this. We're going on 45 minutes now. 2 people and me. I'll probably watch all this video again at some point just to entertain myself. But I tell you what, like, even if there are only 3 of us, hop in the comments. I think it would be a hoot for us to go back and forth and get like 300 comments. Just, I don't care what we talk about. To me, I just find that kind of stuff interesting. It's kind of like a strange poem. Comment sections, like, there are times where they're completely vapid and inane, but there's also times where you get little glimpses about who people really are. The real bands, like Pantera with Zach and Charlie. We're gonna go all the way back. Terry Glaze, was that his name? Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit's kicking in. I believe that was the name of the Aquanet wearing lead singer of Pantera. We're over 45 minutes. My family's stirring inside the house. They want me to stop drinking bourbon and start being a dad, being a husband, being a dog owner, being an employee, all the bells and whistles, all the hats, put them on. I don't know how it works. Is there like a repost? Is there like a way where you can like respond to this? If you want to respond to this with videos, I'd get it. I'd find that fascinating. Iris, my dog's telling me 46 minutes in, it's time to wrap it up. Wrap it up. I see my son in there trolling around the kitchen. Cheers. Don't leave that comment box. Don't leave it lonely. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Are you the dude in the Pantera shirt in the elevator? Let me know. Cheers.